here to let you know that Wind River is no perfect movie. So in Wind River, a wildlife service tracker played by Jeremy Renner is asked by an FBI agent played by Elizabeth Olsen to help her solve the murder of a young girl who was found in the Wind River Indian Reservation in Wyoming. Taylor Sheridan's directorial debut shows that he has learned from the previous two directors that he has worked with in his movies, from Sicario and Hell or High Water, that he knows how to build suspense and tension just for the use of the camera. Ben Richardson's cinematography features a lot of wide shots that are designed to feel like POV shots with the actors in the background and things such as tree branches in the foreground that make you wonder, is someone or something in the wilderness actually following them? There's a lot of long-distance shots that illustrate how a character or community feels isolated from the rest of the world. And Nick Cave and Warren Ellis' musical score adds a lot of tension to many scenes just for the use of instruments such as soft strings, or these really angelic-like choirs that come and go just as quickly throughout the scene. Jeremy Renner gives one of his best and surprisingly most subdued performances in his career. Some of the best scenes featuring him are just him using his hunting skills in order to aid in the investigation. And just by watching his methods, we can get a tight grasp on who he is as a character. He's very resourceful, he's patient while hunting his prey or explaining his methods to Olsen, but he's also unwilling to waste any time if he thinks that the tracks are going to get covered by the snow. And his morals for helping in the investigation are surprisingly both believably grounded and gray at the same time. He's willing to kill the suspect if he has to, but at the same time he can also obey the law and legally let someone get away, while also letting them suffer in the harsh weather at the exact same time, and he wouldn't be at fault for it. Elizabeth Olsen isn't given a ton of backstory in comparison to Renner, which his backstory I'll get to in a second. But what makes Olsen so engaging in this movie is the journey that she goes through. She comes from a much warmer, more populated part of the United States, so she's not used to how cold and isolated it gets in Wyoming, and it's this that makes everyone she talks to treat her like an ignorant city slicker and nothing else. And it's this stigma that motivates her to try even harder to find the killer, and without giving anything away, it's her perseverance that makes it harder for the suspect to avoid them. And she does actually have a good working relationship with Jeremy Renner. They don't talk down to each other like most movie team-ups. Renner shares his knowledge out of a desire to help, and Olsen always shows her appreciation for him and uses his knowledge wisely in order to find the culprit. And I love how Sheridan uses the theme of isolation in order to make our main hero and our eventual villain both feel trapped in their lives and cause them to make the decisions that they make, whether it be good or bad. At the beginning of the movie, we learn that Renner has recently lost someone dear to him, and he feels he could have prevented it if he wasn't so far away from them at the time. And it's this that motivates him to help out in the investigation, not to bring closure to himself, but more to bring closure to someone else in their family. And when our villain is finally revealed, they mention how being in such a deserted rural area makes it impossible, in their opinion, to enjoy themselves, and that's why they decided to act out. And it's a good contrast between how our hero deals with their struggles and how the eventual villain chooses to ignore those struggles and take it out on someone else. My only real problem with the movie is that some scenes feature a little too much dialogue that explains things that we can kind of already piece together ourselves, and it seems like that slow down the movie periodically for the first 2/3 of the movie, especially scenes between Renner and a former lover of his where she just gives him generic cautionary advice that we already know that he's going to take. It is true that there's a little bit too much explaining, and there are a couple scenes featuring humor that feel a little out of place with the rest of the movie, but Wind River is well directed, very well acted, especially on Jeremy Renner's part, and is a pretty intense murder mystery that deals with the themes of isolation. And for that reason, I'm going to give Wind River a 4 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com, and stay tuned next week because next Friday, September 1st, is going to be the 40th anniversary of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which means that they are releasing it for 1 or 2 days. I'm not entirely sure how many exactly, but they are releasing it for a very limited amount of time in theaters. So look forward to that video next week. And once again, thank you all very much for watching. Take care.